Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and today I thought I'd make a different type of video. Every now and again people write interesting comments. Well, they write interesting comments all the time, but every now and again somebody writes a comment which I think, oh, that would be worth doing. A suggestion on a video. It's a bit grim and overcast, and I think it's going to rain today, so I thought I'd make a video answering this question. And this was about the process that I go through once I've been out filming on how it's put together. So what I don't want to do is show you how I edit and the laborious process of that, but just talk about the different aspects of the editing process, if that makes sense. So firstly, I've got a camera. Now this particular camera is a camera that I use when I'm doing my corporate work in the old days. It tends to be, even though it's quite a small compact video camera, it's actually quite big to take out on walks and stuff, but it's a lovely camera. It's a Sony video camera, professional camera, but I often use a DSLR, I use a GoPro, I use different cameras for different processes, but the thing is the same, the process is the same. So on a card, on a little piece of plastic, is the footage, all digitally produced. So that goes into my computer, and here is my edit computer behind me. And then what I've got to do is turn the raw footage, which could be a collection of unrelated shots, into a singular piece of footage that starts at the beginning and ends, and so that when you watch it, it just seems to be very nice, thank you very much, and tells the story. So you are basically putting together a jigsaw puzzle, I suppose, is the best way. You've got all these little individual bits and you need to shove them together. So I will go to my machine, and firstly I would bring in all the rushes, as I call them, or as they're known in the trade, and these are all the individual shots, and they may be in all sorts of different numbers. And the first thing that I would tend to do is just look at most of them to remind myself what I shot and what stuff I have to work with, and whether the quality of them is okay. So if they're in focus, or if they're the sound is bad, or whatever. Now very often I will record the sound separately on a separate device. Now I can't actually show you the device because I'm recording on a separate device. Actually, I suppose I can, because it's in my pocket if I don't disturb it bringing it out. So I am recording on this. There's a little red light there. This is recording the audio, and at the moment it's just sitting in my pocket. So this is separate from the video, and I very often work like that. Sometimes I don't, though. If I'm using this more professional camera, the audio can go straight into the camera with a professional microphone in a special slot. So that's easier. But it doesn't make any difference whether you've recorded the audio separate from the picture, because you can synchronize the two together, and that would be one of the first processes I would do. So all the bits to camera, I would synchronize those bits together. They're on different tracks. So you've got the video on one track and you've got the audio on a separate track, and then you would put them together so that they sync, so that obviously when you're talking it looks like you're saying the words that you're saying and it's not out of sync. The next thing is to start to tell the story, and I think about what I filmed and what it is I'm trying to say. Now generally, because I'm working very quickly, and I don't work to a script, when I'm out filming I tend to have in mind the overall story that I'm telling, the series of pictures that I want. So I sort of storyboard in my head rather than have it written down. And it's only really experience by doing this on a regular basis that you get to the point where you just know what you need. So if I've got shots of me walking down the road and I look at something, I'll want to see or have a shot of what it is I'm looking at, and things like that. Now in this particular case, this is slightly easier. This is a video that would have gone out by the time this one has been made, and it's of a gentleman called Michael who is telling me about his wild garden, or his English wildflower garden, And it was an interview, so I had an interview of him, and then I had a series of cutaway shots of either the flowers, of Michael and Jane, his wife, walking about, or other various shots of whatever I could get at the time. So we would hear him talking, but we would also see the other shots on top. And you've got to build this process up slowly. It takes a bit of time, and you're thinking, no, that doesn't look right, and that does look right. And again, it's this whole experience, what works, what you think is right for the piece. And then at some point you might decide that you want to add a title to it or a graphic. So I would add a graphic on top. Now, all my videos start with my logo, which is a logo of my head with the Bald Explorer written on it. And that sort of tends to zoom into the camera with a sound effect of a whoosh. Just seems to work for me. And then at the end, it also works. And sometimes I use it as a transition between two shots in order to tell me that time has passed. So I would use that sort of same thing. And it's about, I guess, it's about identity. It's about brand identity. Not that you're trying to, turn into a corporate organization, but it's so that people know they're watching, in my instance, the Bald Explorer. Then later on, as you build up, you may decide that actually what you need is some music to underline the video as a music bed. So it might be very subtle music, or you might want to have a louder piece of music which you cut the images to, and it changes the pace of the video. If your video is all monotonous all the way through, and this one is a little bit like that because I'm telling you about the process, then it can get a bit dull. So you want to sort of change the pace and break up the story a little bit, just like you would if you were reading a book. If you're reading a book, you've got paragraphs and paragraphs and chapters, and some chapters are slow and some chapters are fast, and some are longer and some are shorter, and some sentences are short and sharp and to the point, and others are long and lyrical. And you have that sort of diversity, if you like, of different shots and different close-ups and wide shots and all of that. And the whole thing is about trying to make it interesting and engaging, which isn't as easy as it looks, and experience tells you as you go along what works and what doesn't. There's lots of other things that you can do. You can get into much more detail with graphics and special effects by putting in blurs, and you can put in lens flares. You can make the picture look old-fashioned and all of that. I tend not to use those tricks and gimmicks because often people will use them and it actually detracts from what you're trying to say. It makes you look on the surface all very glossy and gleaming and up to date and stuff, but if the substance behind it has nothing, then it is just that. It's just skin deep, and there's nothing more. So I tend not to use that because it's more about trying to engage with the audience and trying to be also real as well as much as one can. So that's pretty much the editing basis. You then, once you've got all these bits, you've got to render it off out of the editing program into one file, and then that's the file. Once you've just double checked that it's all come out, that you've got the audio and the levels right and everything works, then you upload it to YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're doing it. And then of course you've got all the various other things that you do, like put together a thumbnail, a description about it, any links to other videos and further information based on the subject that you want to do, and then it goes off into the great big wide world. And I do this on a daily basis, and sometimes I think to myself, blimey, really? Have I managed to do as many videos as I have? And I keep going, oh yeah. And then of course you check back to see if actually people have watched it, if they've liked it, what the comments are, and so on. So it all starts with an idea, and then it goes through this whole process, and then it's out there. So I thought I'd just share that with you, because I know there's some people who have absolutely no idea how it works. They just come along and they watch the videos and they, you know, it's remarkable that some people think that you turn the camera on and you turn it off, and what you see on the video with all those edits and all the sound and the music has all happened when you've just pushed one button. And that doesn't happen. And it always makes me smile when you hear people who think that's it. You just switch the camera on and you switch it off and you've got a video. There is a lot more to it. But anyway, I just thought I'd share my process and what I do. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Become a patron, support what I do, and I shall get out there and make more videos and so on and so forth. So thank you for watching. Take care. I will now edit this video and make sure it comes out seamlessly so that you can enjoy it. Till next time, bye-bye. Bye-bye.